Ingenuity. Aircraft that evolve in response to ever-advancing threats. Air superiority. Fighters with the proficiency to dominate the sky. And pure, unmatched firepower. These are the fierce bombers commanded by the US Air Force. Let's evaluate the capabilities of each aircraft, beginning with the A10 Thunderbolt. The A-10 is an attack aircraft with high utility against armored ground targets such as tanks. It holds about 16,000 pounds of mixed ordnance, including electro-optically guided bombs, incendiary cluster bombs, and jammer pods. It's useful in close-range air combat and can operate at relatively low altitudes with great low-speed maneuverability. It has a top speed of 517 miles per hour, with a unit cost of about $20 million. The P-3 Orion is a maritime patrol aircraft equipped with submarine detecting technology. The P-3 can carry up to 20,000 pounds of rockets, torpedoes, anti-submarine mines, conventional or nuclear depth charges, and can be loaded with other mission-specific weapons. It's perfectly tailored for overseas surveillance and has the tools to pierce the hull of the most heavily armored submarines. It has a top speed of 472 miles per hour and a unit cost that's not explicitly stated but is probably around $80 million. The AV-8B Harrier is an attack aircraft with a very short takeoff distance and the ability to hover and land vertically. It can carry roughly 9,000 pounds of air-to-air guided missiles, air-to-surface missiles, joint direct attack munitions, firebombs, gravity bombs, cluster bombs, laser-guided bombs, and the B-61 nuclear bomb. While it can't carry much at once, it's useful on aircraft carriers and environments where runway space is limited. Its top speed is 647 miles per hour, with a unit cost of $29 million. The F-18 Hornet is a fighter aircraft with high combat versatility that can provide close air support. It's the most capable aircraft on this list at outmaneuvering other aircraft in a dogfight. It's also the fastest aircraft on this list, with a top speed of at least 1,381 miles per hour, meaning it can straight up outspeed air-to-air projectiles. It holds about 20,000 pounds of munitions, with a wide assortment of bombs and missiles. It's also equipped with the M61 Vulcan 6-barrel Gatling rotary cannon, a gun which can fire a maximum of 6,000 rounds per minute, or 100 rounds per second. And, lastly, it has a unit cost of $68 million. Lockheed Martin's F35 Lightning is a multi-role combat aircraft with stealth capabilities. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say this is the most versatile aircraft ever created. Its development was mostly US-based, however this aircraft is the result of a multinational effort by NATO. The reason I'm not covering the F-16 is because the F-35A is intended to replace it, and in many ways is an upgraded version of it. The F-35B is also intended to replace the AV-8B Harrier due to its vertical takeoff and hovering capabilities. Since it was manufactured with the intention of being exported, it uses shared parts between all of its models, which makes maintenance cheaper. When it comes to firepower, the F-35 is capable of being loaded with 18,000 pounds of all kinds of bombs, missiles, and weapons systems. It's a long list of stuff, but it's loaded based on the kind of mission it's sent on, since it would be impossible to load it with everything at once. When researching the F-35, I realized the air intercept missiles it's equipped with were manufactured by Texas Instruments, the same company that makes your TI-83s. Or, remember these? Anyway, the F-35 has a top speed of about 1,200 miles per hour, which is fast, but it's still outsped by the FA-18 due to it relying on a single engine. It currently costs $89 million per unit. However, it is expected to decrease over the next few years as production increases. B-52 Stratofortress is an absolute unit. Fully loaded, it weighs in at almost 500,000 pounds, the heaviest bomber in the US Air Force. Its limited maneuverability is made up for with its advanced surveillance technology and electronic countermeasure system. It has a massive payload, carrying roughly 70,000 pounds of mines, missiles, and conventional and nuclear bombs. This baby also comes equipped with the Slammer, a subsonic cruise missile which is also used by the P-3 Orion and the F-18. This thing is less of a missile than a miniature remote-controlled plane. Once it's fired, it can travel over 150 miles to a target with pinpoint accuracy. Despite its capabilities, it's not a good idea to spam these because they do cost $500,000 a piece. Moving on, the B-1 Lancer is a strategic bomber with a relatively high speed for its impressive weight and an extremely long range of about 5,900 miles. It has enough range to travel across the continental US and back and still have fuel left over. It has a larger payload than any other US bomber at 75,000 pounds. It carries general-purpose bombs, naval mines, cluster munitions, JDAMs, and precision-guided air-to-surface missiles. The B-1's top speed is over 900 miles per hour, and it has a unit cost of $338 million. Northrop Grumman's B-2 Spirit is a cornerstone of the US Air Force's technological superiority. The B-2's low-drag, tailless design makes it unrivaled in terms of stealth. It has an extremely small radar cross-section of about 1 square foot. It gets its color from the carbon graphite material it's mostly made of to absorb radar energy. I honestly expected the B-2 to be one of the fastest planes on this list, but its speed is only described as high subsonic. Therefore, its top speed is probably around 750 miles per hour, which, after thinking about it, made sense, because you wouldn't want a stealth plane to break the sound barrier. The B-2 can carry a maximum of 40,000 pounds of ordnance, and is compatible with an extensive library of weapons, including both conventional and nuclear bombs, mines, and missiles. It's also capable of deploying one of the largest non-nuclear weapons in the US arsenal, the 30,000-pound massive ordnance penetrator. Measurements of each aircraft can indicate their particular strengths, and how the greatest utility is found in them. Let's take a look at a final, side-by-side comparison of how they measure up in terms of unloaded and max weight. Wingspan, top speed, cost per unit, and lastly, their payload. Thanks for watching. This video is one part of a series about the United States military. If you're interested in what comes next, please consider subscribing. If you want to follow me on other social media, I do have a Twitter @meta_galactic, where I post about videos I'm making or plan to make.